I'm Joe here, Joe Corcione, and this is MTV Cribs. Welcome to my crib. No, this is not MTV Cribs. This is the Everyday Ultra YouTube channel, and we're here. It's Monday. This Friday is the Tahoe 200, so we made it. This is race week here. We are second week into the taper before the race, and feeling excited. Feeling really, really excited. One of the big things in 200-mile races, and even 100-mile races too, is the logistics and the prep and all the details that go into it. You know, these 200-mile races, you're out there for days. And because you're out there for days, you're going to need a lot of gear. You're going to need a lot of planning. You're going to need to really, really dial in on those things. And a lot of the time in the taper, that's a lot of the stuff. And I think one thing that a lot of people don't see in these 200-mile races is spending a lot of time in the logistics. Like, I think in a, 50K or even a 50-mile race, you can pretty much go out there and just wing it. Like maybe you go out there with 2 gels throughout the entire time. I don't suggest that. Don't do that. But you might be able to get there and do it. But if you have 2 gels in a 200-mile race, like not good. So we got a lot of gear, and I got a lot of questions on gear for a 200-mile race. So I'm going to show you the whole gear setup right now. It's a little bit messy because I haven't packed all of it, but let's go check it out. Step into my office over here. Excuse the mess, but yeah, this is like basically all the stuff here too, and we're kind of going to go by one. So we got shoes, we got clothes, we got all this stuff too. So I'm kind of going to talk through how I think about gear, what are some things that I suggest to have, how to set up drop bags. So it's not just going to be a run through of gear, it's just going to be kind of going through strategy as well too. So I guess the first thing we'll start with is shoes. So I think with a 200-mile race, there's a really good tip that actually Jeff Browning told me. And, Jeff's one of the greatest ultramarathon athletes of all time, second at Cocodona, Moab 240. He's won that race before, many 100-mile wins. He's 51 years old too, by the way, and still crushing it, which is amazing. But he told me this really good tip about shoes is that, when you wear shoes, right, they all have foam in it. And if you take a zoom in on foam, like really deep, like microscopic level, it's kind of like a sponge. And so like they have like little holes in it. And over time, when you keep running on it, like what happens is those holes get compressed and compressed and compressed and compressed. And I remember when I did Cocodona for the first time, like my feet were so freaking sore. I mean, just like so sore. Like that was like the worst thing. It was so sore to the point like where I thought my whole legs were hurting, but it was just my feet. And what happens is over the course of like 40 to 60 miles, the foam can get actually really compromised and basically become almost dead. Ever since I heard about that, and also too, to add to that too, Jeff says it takes about like 30 hours or so for the foam to like recompress. So basically like once you get to 40 to 50 miles on a pair of shoes in these longer races, they're pretty much shot. Whereas like a 100-mile race, like when I did Javelina, my time was 15:38. Or sorry, 15:28. Can't rob myself of those 10 seconds there. Or 10 minutes. Jeez, what am I thinking? It's taper. That kind of race, you can kind of get through it because it's a short amount of time. But Tahoe, I'm planning to be out there for about 50 hours. And so I can deal with sore feet for a little bit in a 100-mile race, but a 200-mile race, I don't want to have that sore feet. So to do that, I'm switching out shoes every 40 to 60 miles. And that's why, like, over the course of 200 miles, I have 4 pairs of shoes here. So what I'm going to start with, I'm actually going to start with the Speedland GS CCDs. It's actually kind of funny because they're Cocodona shoes that I'm wearing at Tahoe. These shoes are super awesome. I really love them for 2 different reasons. I like the really big, thick cushion. And these will be the shoes that I'll wear for the most miles. I'll wear this for like the first 62 miles, the first 100K, just because you don't see crew for your first 100K. So I'm going to wear these for the first 100K just because they have really thick, cushioning. I don't know, again, the brain is not working. I think the caffeine's wearing off. I'm on a caffeine taper, by the way, so I think that's why the brain's not working as well. Really thick cushion, so I want to be able to keep my feet nice and padded. And then they also got these BOA lace lock systems, which I think are pretty cool. So like basically, instead of just like laces, you can just rip them like that. So I'll wear those for the first 60. And then basically after that, every 40 to 60 miles or so, I'm going to be switching into the Nike Zagama 2. This is like my all-time favorite trail shoe. It's got really thick cushioning here too. It's super comfortable. The lugs are great. It's got a Vibram outsole as well too, which, if you're ever looking for a sole that's going to be really good in wet conditions, Vibram's good. There is going to be a little bit of snow on the course, so I want to make sure that I got a sole that's not going to like totally slip up. And so that's why I really trust the Zagama. And these things are just super comfortable. Then I have 3 other pairs for them that I'll switch out at various points of the race. So yeah, those are the shoes. If you're looking for a 200 miler, I mean, honestly, these are like my 2 shoes that I would suggest. I would suggest either a Speedland version. They have different versions as their current one out, but they have like similar models. Like they also have the GS Oak, which was like basically they come out with a new model each time, but they're pretty much the same as you can see. So I really like Speedlands, and I really like the Nike Zagama too. So those are my two favorite go-to shoes for that too. But the biggest thing with shoes is pick the thing that's comfortable for you and pick the thing that you're most confident in. There was a shoe that everybody said, oh, I really love these for 200 miles. And I tried them on and I just didn't feel comfortable with them. And I didn't feel confident. Like I didn't feel like they could really hold my feet up for a long period of time. So I actually didn't end up using them, even though everyone raved about it. So, take my recommendation with a grain of salt. Take the shoes that are comfortable for you and the ones that you feel confident in, and those are the ones to go with too. So what else we got? We'll start with a little paraphernalia here with all this kind of stuff too. So one of the biggest things, speaking on the thing of shoes, is also taking care of your feet. My goodness. Yeah, blisters and everything too. So when I did Cocodona the first time, which was my first 200 miler, I got blisters up the wazoo. And then I got blisters starting at like mile 120. When I did the Arizona Monster, now unfortunately, again, I had to drop at mile 200 due to a knee injury. But I only got blisters up until mile 200 and they were very small. And so a few different things. So I think the first thing, this is a must, is 2 times Blister Shield powder. The reason why I like this stuff is because basically what you do is you take a scoop of it, you put 1 scoop in each of your socks and you put it on. And the powder actually absorbs moisture in your socks from all sweat and everything else too. Because what causes blisters is 2 different things, friction and moisture. And so if you're able to take away a lot of the moisture, then that's going to help a lot with just, making your feet less moist and less able to rub on and get blisters too. So this thing I put into every pair of socks that I have. I got a lot of freaking socks here. I got I think 9 pairs of socks total because you do want to replace your socks. I would say every 4 to 8 hours, depending on when you see crew and also depending on how wet and how dusty the course is. Now, Tahoe is a pretty dusty course, so I'm going to be pretty much switching my socks like every 4 to 6 hours or so because you want to make sure that you have that, in an ability where your feet aren't getting super, super dirty. So what I will do is every 4 to 6 hours, I will go through, I will take off my socks off. I will take a hand sanitizer wipe. I will wipe down my feet. You want the hand sanitizer wipe because it dries out your feet and you're cleaning off all the dirt, debris, and gunk out of there too, because if your dirt gets in the pores, they rub a little bit more. Again, friction plus moisture equals blisters. You get rid of the dirt in there, and then therefore you're not going to get as much of the rubbing in there. So getting all that dirt off is super, super important as well. Basically what I'll do is I'll put in some Blister Shield powder into one of these socks, and then I'll put them on and I'll be good to go. Now, if you notice too, these are looking a little weird. You're like, are those socks or gloves? No, they are socks, but they got little fingers in them too. Well, I guess fingers for toes. I mean, toes are essentially fingers on the foot, right? Anyways, that was just a weird statement, but you know what I'm saying? But the reason why I like these is because basically you get a little bit more protection in between your toes. And so with these, I have never gotten toe blisters on them, whereas I wore regular socks during Cocodona and my toes were covered in blisters. So I usually like Injinji socks, which is the primary brand that I'm going through. And I also have a pair of Creepers in there as well too. They're a relatively newer sock brand as well that I've heard have been more durable too. So I've been wearing them out and I like them. They're great. So I will be using only toe socks out there for those reasons. So if you get blisters on your toes, I think toe socks are a good way to go. Now, the other thing too to protect with not having dirt in your shoes or any debris, but these are gaiters. So basically you put them on your shoe and what they do is they cover your ankles. So they basically protect any dirt and debris from coming in. And so if you get an extra dust or if you get in a rock in your shoe, that just increases friction and that can help. These things will keep out any dirt and debris. And because Tahoe is a very dusty course, definitely suggest wearing these. So I'll be wearing gaiters for sure. And as you can see, they got a little bit of Velcro on the back. And so what I did was I put an adhesive on these shoes, just added in some Velcro. This is not standard onto the shoe, but I added in some Velcro and you just Velcro it to the back of there. They don't weigh anything. They're super light. So if you have a dusty course or if you're just unsure, wear gaiters, because I'm telling you, they're going to help a ton. So last foot thing that I'll kind of say that I also really like, this is one of my secret weapons out here. So when I did Cocodona, I actually did end up getting blisters pretty badly, but they actually never really hurt. And that's because I use this thing, which is lamb's wool. So I learned this from Joe McConaughey, who, he's won Cocodona. He has the unsupported FKT in the Appalachian Trail. He set many FKTs before. He's a really, really talented multi-day athlete. Lamb's wool is kind of nice because it's this really plushy, just kind of literally wool from a lamb. Is it actually wool from lamb? I don't know. I don't know if it's actually literally lamb's wool or not, or if it's called lamb's wool, but It's comfortable. But anyways, basically what I did was anytime I had a blister, I would just take some of this and I would wrap it around my toe or wrap it around where the blister was against the shoe. And so that way, like it wasn't rubbing it to make it more painful. It was kind of like this nice plushy padding in between. So I always carry this, or at least like a little bit with me every time I'm going. So like if I'm at an aid station where there's no crew, or I'm in the middle of the thing where I have like a hotspot or something, I can go ahead and put some lamb's wool and take care of that and make sure there's no friction. Now the other thing, I need to make sure it's out here. Let me just see if I got oh yes, can't forget this. Good old Leukotape. So Leukotape's really good. It's a good way, if you get blisters in an area almost anytime you run, pre-taping with Leukotape can be nice. But if you have a hot spot bubbling up anywhere, like basically a pre-blister, you just take some of this, snip it off, put it over that, and that way you're gonna, take care of your feet in the right way and protect it from getting the rubbing. Because if you have the tape there, it's gonna be a barrier where it's not gonna rub too. So foot stuff must have in a 200-mile race. If you don't, Godspeed to you. So there's your little foot care routine. And some other of the smaller stuff, Play On Pain Relief. This stuff is like one of my favorite tools ever. Basically, it's an instant pain relief spray that's all natural ingredients, where basically you spray it on your muscles, and like what it does is it actually goes into the source of the inflammation in your muscles and your joints, and it gets rid of inflammation in seconds. So you like relieve soreness like that. It's different than like icy hot or anything like that too, because with Play On, basically it targets the inflammation at the source. So it doesn't just cool the skin like the other stuff do. Like CBD cream also just cools the skin. This actually goes to work in it. The other thing too, which is really cool about this, is like it's a cooling agent. So if it gets hot outside, even if you're not like painful in certain areas, like I'll spray this on like my neck or like my palms, and it will actually like cool me down. Like if you actually have something cool in your palms, it will cool your body temperature out. Same with your neck and stuff like that too. So I'll spray it on to cool it on too. So I'll have this and be spraying on frequently as well too. So some other stuff, lube. I think it's very self-explanatory. Like you don't want to make sure everything's rubbing. I like Body Glide personally, and I will like rub this everywhere like I'm a slug out there. That I know is weird, but like, listen, you do not want chafing out there. Chafing sucks. It is the worst. So reapply this anytime you can. I always carry a stick with me, and then I always, anytime I'm at a crew stop, I always reapply. I reapply everywhere, like chest, back, in between the thighs. This is an ultra show, I can say this, in the butt crack, everywhere. This one hasn't been in the butt crack, don't worry. Usually after I have put it there, if I have butt crack ones, I throw them out afterwards. So no, this is not like a butt crack Body Glide. I'd never keep those. And I don't suggest you should either. Very unsanitary. So all that being said, everywhere. Definitely make sure you got enough of that for sure. Speaking of butt stuff, bare butt wipes as well too. So I just usually carry around some of these too, like basically if I ever have to go to the bathroom, they're just wipes that I can have out there on the go. I use these in training too, just in case as well too. And you can also use them as wipes in case you need to like wipe down your feet or anything too. So bare butt wipes. I also got some Ketone IQ. These are the ones with 100 milligrams of caffeine. I will take this every 4 hours. And ketones are like a natural form of energy. And then you have the caffeine in there to give you a caffeine boost too. From a caffeine strategy standpoint, I don't plan to sleep at all during Tahoe. Now, do I recommend that for everyone doing a 200-mile race? No. Because I always say your sleep strategy should depend on how long you plan to be out there. So if you plan to be out there, my rule of thumb is like if you plan to be out there for less than 55 hours, you can plan to go without sleep. If you're going to be out there for more than 55 hours, you should at least start to plan some sleep. And the longer the time you expect to finish, the more sleep you should plan to get. So I plan to finish below 55 hours. So I plan to get no sleep. I might take a dirt nap here or there, maybe 5 to 10 minutes if I need to. But basically, I'm just going to be pounding 200 milligrams of caffeine every 4 hours. And then probably towards the end, closer to 300 every 4 hours because the body's just going to metabolize a lot more. So hopefully I don't go into cardiac arrest. So anyways, these things are one way I'll do it. And then the other way I'll do caffeine is caffeine pills. These have 200 milligrams a pop in each of it. So those are some of the smaller stuff. Oh, another tool. This is a filter, which is very, very nice from HydroPack. So basically like what you can actually do is just take any one of these salt flasks here, you screw it on the cap, and then you can just literally just scoop up water like from a creek, like a stream, anything. You put that cap on there and this thing literally just filters it out. So there's going to be a lot of water on the course. There's a lot of snow that's melted, a lot of creeks and things like that too. So that way I don't have to carry a crap ton of water and I can just filter it out. And what's super nice is like you can even just like squeeze out the water out of this thing and just into your other bottles as well too. So small filter, but very, very worth it as well too. So that's all like the little gear stuff too. Let's talk about like nutrition and everything too. Now here, another great tip that I learned from Jeff Browning. You know, when you're in these crew stations, even if you're back of the pack, mid pack, it's very, very important to be organized and be efficient, because when I look at people's races, a lot of the opportunities that they can have to PR their races, of course, can come from fitness. But there's a lot of opportunities you can make with actually cutting down aid station time. So like even when I did Javelina the first year, granted it's a different race, different kind of beast, but when I did Javelina the first year, it was a 100-mile race. I ran 16:36, and I think I spent like an hour and a half in aid stations total. That's a long time. Like think about that. If I just cut that down by a little bit, like it's going to be a whole different ball game, right? Even if I cut down 30 minutes off of that from aid station time, that basically gets me 30-minute PR without any fitness. And then if you think about a 200-mile race, like these are really some times where you can spend a lot of time. Like I've seen people spend 1, 2, 3 hours, sleep aside, right? Sleep's a whole different beast, but you really need to be efficient. So one way that's really helped me is whenever I look at any aid station or like any place where I can like have specific like restock on nutrition. As you can see, this is for like Brockway Summit, #1, Tahoe City, Brockway #2, because you hit that aid station twice. But what I have in here is, as I drop it, the aid station labeled on here, and then this is all the nutrition I need for the next aid station. So for me, I'm gonna have crew out there. So all the crew needs to do is take this stuff and pack it into my stuff. Or if I have it on a drop bag, which I'll go in a second, I can basically pull this out. I have everything I need for the next aid station and have that all in there. Now, how do you determine this? The best way to do it is coming up with a pace chart. Now, basically a pace chart just says how long you expect to be at each aid station, or sorry, not at each aid station, to get from one aid station to another, and you estimate the time that's in there. And that way you can estimate how much carbohydrates that you need out there, what calories you need out there, what hydration you need out there. You back out that number and then you put it into like whatever nutritional items that you need into that next section so you can take it there too. This is really great because then you're not like having to do math, your crew's not having to do math, like you already have the stuff all ready to go. And that's one way that, you know, we're making it super, super efficient out there. And this is something that saved me hours in many, many races too. And it's not just 200-mile races. This can be a 100-mile race, this can be a 50-mile race. This is a really, really good strategy to do as well too. One thing I also suggest though is that, you know, you might be in a position where like if you're in a race, like let's just say, you know, I'm coming through this and I have Rice Krispies treats in here because Rice Krispies treats are fucking delicious. But if for some reason they're not fucking delicious and they're fucking disgusting for me out there, I might not want that anymore. So then what do? That's why I always suggest having an extra bag. So basically what I always tell my crew to do is lay out all my nutrition in the bag before they pack it in. And then that way I can look at it. And if I say, okay, that thing is gross, can you substitute it out with this thing? Then they can pull it out of the extra bag and then supplement it with the thing that's good. So then that way you give yourself basically other options in case what you have in your bag doesn't work out too. Now, if you're in a drop bag situation where you don't have your crew and you don't have extra stuff, that's why I always suggest like at aid stations, if you can be in a position where you can take stuff from the aid stations, get some alternates in case. Pro tip, nutrition-wise, during your training, try out as many things as possible and see what works for you, because the more options that you have, the more you protect yourself in situations where some things taste gross, you can always diversify out to something else too. So this is a practical way to kind of do it as well too. So I'll have all that stuff there. And then I also got, you know, tons of other just alternative stuff too. But what's going to be my main nutrition source? I mean, my main nutrition source is going to be mostly gels and drink mix and candy. Like that's going to be the big thing. So just some of the gels that I'm using out there. I mean, the main thing is going to be Never Second. These are like my favorite gels. 30 grams of carbs, 200 milligrams of sodium. This is my favorite gel. I'm also using these as well, the Victus O2 gels. They actually have 45 grams of carbs and 340 milligrams of sodium. So I'm going to be using these a lot during the daytime. So basically during the daytime, like I plan to hit Brockway during the day. So I have like a lot with the Never Second and sodium in there, just so I can get into a position where I can get more sodium in. So in the nighttime, I'm going to be using ones with a little less sodium. So with less, because I don't need as much sodium when it's cooler outside, I'll be using the Morton 100 gels, which are great. It's kind of like a gel shot texture, so you get a little bit of a different texture. And then the Precision 90 grams of carbs of gels. Now, no, I don't slam 90 grams in one go, but basically like I'll take like 3 at a time, like 30 grams, because My nutrition strategy at Tahoe would be about 60 to 80 grams of carbs an hour, depending on how I'm feeling. Now, as you also have saw in there, there's also a lot of candy. And so, yeah, I got a lot of candy options. I got my favorite is the Nerds Gummy Clusters. I mean, these are just friggin' incredible. If you haven't tried them, what are you doing? They're great. I also got some gummy worms, and I got these like freeze-dried Skittles, which I don't want to put in the drop bag because like I did put in the drop bag and then I dropped them and then they just literally exploded everywhere because they're like kind of like fragile. So I think I'm just gonna have this as like a enjoyable treat. And then drink mix wise, I'll alternate between the NAC Ultra Energy drink mix and the Never Second C30 drink mix. And then every 4 hours or so, what I will also take is one of these Tailwind recoveries. Now, the main reason why I like to take it is it's got 20 grams of protein. And I like to get in 20 grams of protein every 4 to 6 hours because it helps to replenish the muscles as well. What I like about this too is it also has a good amount of carbohydrates, 34 grams of carbs in there as well too. Pro tip, if you are using Tailwind recovery, get the Courtney Dauwalter kind, not because she's awesome and she's like the GOAT, but also at the same time, this actually has more protein than the standard Tailwind recovery. So the standard Tailwind recovery, I think only has 10 grams of protein. This has 20. So if you're looking for a little bit more bang for your buck protein wise, get the Courtney Dauwalter birthday cake version as well too. This is actually a bag that I have in one of my drop bags that I will be placing at the aid stations without crew. Now, if there is an aid station where you can't see crew and you can have drop bags, I suggest doing it because that way you don't have to lug all your nutrition with you. You can literally just, pack it in a bag and then just restock it when you're at that aid station. So I also have, as you can see, I have the nutrition bag in there. And then I also have socks with wipes to wipe my feet down to put that in there too. I'll also be putting the Blister Shield powder in them. I don't have them in them right now, but I will put that in there. And then I have it in these drop bags as well too. I think it's called like Free Laxy. You can get like, I think 5 of these drop bags for like 25 bucks in various sizes on Amazon. So yeah, as you can see, I got 3 drop bags that will be used throughout the race, and then I will have crew at other stops. And if you don't have crew, I mean, you're gonna have to get really good at putting drop bags. So basically all I have in here is like nutrition. I also think in one of them, I do have an extra pair of shoes in this one, just in case like I don't want to have these Speedlands anymore and I want to switch into Zagamas. I actually have another pair of Zagamas in here too. I don't think you want to like overload your drop bag, but like I always say, like if you think you're at least going to have something or you potentially want something, pack it in the drop bag because you don't have to carry it with you. You can just leave it in the drop bag afterwards. And so I do have an extra pair of shoes in here just in case. So that's nutrition, everything up there too. How are we going to carry all this nutrition? Well, we're going to be using the Ultraspire Alpha 6.0 vest. And actually what I'm going to be doing out there, it's the first time for a 200-mile race. And you don't have to do it because I know you have to like usually have 2 vests, but I'm actually going to do pack swaps. I'm using the Ultraspire 6.0, but basically I'm going to have 1 pack that's on me, 1 pack with my crew. And then when I come into each aid station, since I'm trying to be as quick as possible, like my crew is going to have I'm going to have my nutrition all out there. If I give the green light and be like, yep, everything's good on there, they're just going to pack this next pack, have the bottles already filled in it, ready to go. And the pack's going to be preloaded with the required gear. And basically it's just going to be one thing ready to go. Boom, 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 done. Now in the beginning, I actually might just tell them, hey, just like pack all the nutrition in there because usually I don't get sick of stuff around maybe mile 100 or so. So that way, they can be a little bit more efficient. So you don't have to do that, but if you do have 2 vests lying around, it's a good way to be efficient in and out in there too. But I like the Ultraspire 6.0 for several different reasons. It's a pretty light pack. You can actually have 2 bottles in the front, but what I like about this is you can actually fit these hammers in there. This is an 800 milliliter soft flasks. Most soft flasks are typically 500 milliliters. These is 800. So 800 mils, which is like insane. What's nice about that is like you can have 800 mils of water just right in the front like that. So that's what I really like about that. So I have 800 milliliters on there. On the sections that have that are longer and hotter, I will be using a bladder in there too. Now this is a 2-liter bladder, but I'll probably maybe fill it up to only to 1 liter at some parts, especially with these as well. And then in the pack swaps, especially for like the nighttime sections, I'll switch out the 800s with these 600 milliliters, so a little less water because I'm going to need to pack less water as well too. And then this pack is nice too because you have zippers in the front. You have 2 zippers. You have gels like you can pack on the side and this like small thing too. And then they have this like kangaroo pouch in the back where you can kind of fit a lot of stuff out of here. See, like it's pretty roomy. with how much stuff you can fit. And then like all the required gear and everything will fit into this back pocket in here as well too. So they say this is a 6 liter vest. Honestly though, I feel like it fits more like 10 to 12 liters of capacity. So it's a pretty great vest. It's super comfortable. It's got the ultra cool system as well too, which kind of like keeps it nice and cool. Whereas like some other vests I've had before, they just like seem to trap heat. This one kind of breathes a little bit more. So this will be the vest that I'll be using out there, which is amazing. And then I will be attaching the pole quiver on there because I will 100% be using poles out there. Any race that has a lot of steep ups and steep downs or is a lot like this, you probably should be using poles. It's kind of nice because literally you can just go ahead and just boom, put the poles in like this, and then they sit in the back and you can just literally just pull it in and out there too, so you don't have to be carrying around the poles all throughout. So we'll be using the quiver out there as well too. That is the pack setup and strategy on there too. Clothing wise, basically everything I'm wearing out there is going to be from Janji. The shorts I'll be predominantly wearing are these 2-in-1 shorts from Janji. Really freaking love these. I love these because they have basically a compression liner underneath them. So if you think about like a traditional pair of shorts, they usually have just like the regular mesh liner, almost like a bathing suit. I freaking hate those. Like I feel like I chafe to high heavens with them. So this is literally just like a compression short. They even have some pockets in them too. But then that way you don't get like that compression liner because it's literally just like, or the regular mesh liner, you just get compression and it's super, super comfortable. So basically I'll just be wearing that version of shorts and I'll just be switching them out. Like I usually like to change clothes from night to day and day to night. Basically one day I'll wear all the clothes. I like to switch into a different pair of clothes at night because you don't want to be super sweaty and then go into the nighttime where like the temperature drops and now you're just covered in sweat. You want to switch into a fresh pair of clothes so that you're not super, super sweaty. And then just switching into the daytime after going after night, it's just like a good reset to have. Like I almost like to do things in that morning, like when you're going to the next day to kind of like trick your brain into like you waking up into a new day. So like I like to get new clothes on. I like to brush my teeth. I will usually take like caffeine right before the sun rises, like I'm normally doing during a day-to-day where like I drink coffee before the sun rises. So it's almost like tricking your brain to be in a position where, you are getting into the morning rhythm out there. So that's like one of these things with these 200s. You got to like play the game to like really trick your brain out there too. And then I have the pants as well. I think these are the Transit Tech pants. So will I wear these? Not sure, but they're part of the required gear. You do have to carry pants as a required gear thing. So I will be carrying those. I'm also bringing a buff. Very, very important in these dusty races. So Tahoe, they say that you can get something called Tahoe lung, which is basically like all like this dust and everything. It like cakes into your lungs and stuff. And like people would be coughing and everything and such too. And there's also a lot of pollen in the air. So like what I kind of do, and this is kind of like bringing us back to COVID times, right? So, basically like I will run a lot of the race in like very congested areas, kind of like this. And it's nice and super breathable. But basically what it does is it prevents a lot of that dust from getting in. So I'll be pretty much wearing this like a lot, like on very congested sections. So especially in the front, like in the first day, and then like once it thins out a bit, I probably won't wear it as much. And then because the course is a giant out and back, there will be times like where you'll be passing a lot of people. That's going to be in a position where, I can kind of cover the thing. And so buff, I think is what I've heard is going to be super, super useful out there. Jacket wise, I got the Janji Rain Runner pack jacket, my favorite rain jacket of all time. Super light, super breathable, and it keeps out water super, super well. So the Rain Runner pack jacket, very, very good. I'll be using that. I don't think it's going to rain out there, but you do have to have a jacket, and it's good to have in case, like, you need to put an outer layer on in case it gets a little windy. So the Janji Merino sweatshirt, one of my favorite piece of trail running equipment ever. It's just so comfortable. It's so warm. It's very lightweight. And it's got this hood that kind of like, almost like eats your head. Like it's not like a normal hood that's like kind of baggy. Like as you can see, it kind of like wraps in your head and stuff. So, and it's got these like finger slits too. So like, basically it warms your hands up. So like this is like one of my favorite things to wear in the cold weather. So I love these. These are amazing. I have 2 of them. One of the best piece of trail running clothing ever. And then shirt wise, I will mostly be wearing the Janji all day t-shirt, which is like one of my favorite t-shirts, super comfortable, really keeps me cool in hot races as well. It will be probably pretty hot during the day, so I'll be wearing that as well. And then at some point, maybe in the beginning, maybe at some point I'll get a little fashionable and I'll have Janji's new, they have this new collared t-shirt, which is super, super cool. Yeah, it is like a running shirt from Janji. super comfortable, but it just looks fly. And, you know, I feel like one day, you know, I almost kind of think like that's like casual, and that's like, nah, like at one part we're going to be business casual. Like it's going to be business at some parts, so we might as well break the collar out, right? Maybe I'll wear like a full suit, and then it's just going to be like, now it's really freaking business time. I'm not going to do that. But anyways, we got John G's, I believe it's like, I think this is called like the AFO hat. I could be wrong, but it's like super light. You can like smash it into your pack really easy, just like that, in case it's like nighttime. But what I also like about it, it's very, very light. And if you like douse water on it, it kind of like holds the water so it can keep your head cool. I don't think I'm going to need it, but I do have John G's, I think it's called like the Thermal Runner puffy jacket. It's very nice, very warm, very light. What I don't like about a lot of puffy jackets is like they can take up a lot of space. This can actually really pack down very nice. And it's pretty light, but it's super, super warm as well too. So I don't think I'm going to need it because I think the low is like 45 degrees. And usually if it's 45 degrees, I can kind of get away with that sweatshirt. But this is just something I'll have just in case. Always good to bring backups as well too. And then lighting. Lighting is very, very important. You need to have good lights out there. So I got a few different light options that I'll be doing. First is the Ultraspire 850 lumen waist light. This thing is like a Mack truck. So basically, like what you can do is you can like swivel it all around, and then it's not charged currently right now, but like you turn this thing on and it's just super, super bright. So if you don't like a headlamp or if you don't like things on your head, this thing can actually do enough where it can like light up the trail in front of you. But for me, I like to do the double combo. I like to do the combo of using the waist lamp and the headlamp at the same time. And that way you get just more light. Like if there's one thing out of anything here that I would say do not skimp on if you're doing a race where you're going in the night, it's light. Man, I think I actually still have it too. Yeah, I do. Oh my God, this thing is such a piece of crap. Dude, when I first started trail running, I don't know why I have this. I think I have it just like set a bad example. This is like a $15 headlamp from Amazon. I did my first 100-mile race with this, and I could not see crap at the nighttime. And I was like moving really slow. And here's the thing too, like the less you can see at nighttime, the more perceived exertion you have because your eyes are focusing on where to go. And it was horrible. It was terrible. So like this thing sucks. Like don't get a piece of crap headlamp. Invest in good light. So that's why I really like this Ultraspire waist lamp. It's super bright. They actually have a headlamp attachment where you can make a headlamp. And then good headlamps too. I like this one from Phoenix. It's very, very awesome. It's got two of these things. It's super, super bright. It's so funny because I used to run with what I thought was a good headlamp. And then my friend Kyle Curtin, he told me, he's like, dude, you need to get a new headlamp. And this is the one he recommended. And yeah, I haven't been looking back since. So thank you, Kyle, for the recommendation. Very, very good. But I'll wear like the double on this too. If I have a pacer, I'll actually give this to a pacer and have the pacer lead the way so then they can like kind of like lead the way light-wise, like with that too, and then I'll have the headlamp too. So do not skimp on light. Is a very, very good thing to have. Oh yeah, some other things real quick. Gloves, beanie. We also got some sunglasses, extra battery pack, AirPods, just because you need to rock some music out there. Why the hell not? Now, if you're going to be out there longer, right? Like I plan to be out there for 50 hours. You know, sometimes if you're doing a race, like you might be out there for 70, 80, 90, 100 hours. Probably going to need a lot more stuff. So the thing that I always just say is make sure that you have like a game plan of everything you need. Don't just wing these things because, you know, think about scenarios. Think about like what if things go wrong, if you need to like for example, I have that extra pair of shoes in there. I have extra pair of socks more than I need. I have all this other extra food, like making sure that you're taking a approach to say like, if and when things go wrong, can I be prepared? And that's one of the big things. So that's my whole gear breakdown over here for Tahoe 200. So a lot of stuff. I know. I always like look at this too and I'm like, damn, that's a lot of stuff. And honestly, it just gets me super, super wondering about how I'm going to pack this all on a plane. But we will figure it out because we got to get all this stuff there some way or another. So yeah.